Jacob T. Davis here with this is my first ever podcast. Welcome to the Jacob T. Davis podcast. That's what I'm going to call it for now. I got my man Jared Evenson. He is a lender, services the Palouse area, currently located in Spokane, Washington. Jared, how are you doing?
I'm great, man. Yeah, we gotta come up with a good name for your podcast, though.
Well, so I've had a few different ideas. All Day Day podcast was one. Uh, the I think that's the only idea I've come up with. The Jacob T. Davis Real Estate Show. So I've got a few different ideas, but I think for right now I'm going to call it the Jacob T. Davis Podcast. So Jared, what are you seeing with interest rates currently? How is that? Are interest rates? I mean, they've been saying they're going to go down. Do you think that's going to actually happen?
You know, I got my magic crystal ball over here on my desk, and it's telling me yes, they're going to go down. It's been a wild run, right? What was it? This time last year, everybody in the world was saying rates are going to go down, and all they did was go up for a year. I don't know why people were saying last year rates were going to go down. It didn't make sense. There was no market indicators saying we're going to see things get better. It was just everybody wanted them to. And then everybody starts talking about inflation, and that's why rates are going up, right? It is what it is. But this year, it's an election year, right? We've already seen rates come down to right about the point that everyone was predicting they were going to be down to by the end of this year, right? 2 months ago, people were saying you might see rates in the low sixes by the end of 2024. Well, it's the very beginning of 2024, and we're basically right there, right? So my prediction, again, from the last 3 or 4 election years I've been in this business, we've always seen improvements in rates. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see things, rates that start with the number 5, low fives. I don't think we're going to see anything that starts with a 4. But my expectation is a little higher than what the market's predicting.
Yeah, it seems like with it being an election year, they're probably going to try to lower interest rates as much as they can. Are you seeing buyers looking to get pre-qualified more than last year for it being January? I've been busier myself, I would say, this January, way busier. I've been more busy meeting with sellers lately, which has been interesting. I signed 2 listing agreements yesterday. Are you seeing more buyers getting pre-qualified for this time of year?
Dude, that's cool to hear. Yeah, I am. And, getting pre-qualified, that's the whole elephant in the room half the time. Everybody's so afraid sometimes, and we can talk about that a little bit. But my pre-qualification pipeline is getting big. It's getting to the point to where I am looking to see houses that pop up on the market for sale. And now I'm going through and I'm like, who on my list might want that house? Because I want to make sure they get the first look at it, right? We saw that house come on the market a couple days ago, and I remember just kind of, on Lost Trail and Pullman, just going through who do I know that might fit this bill. I've never really done that before, especially in January. I usually just let the chips fall as they may, and you guys do your job. But now it's like, if you're going to be buying, and you've got to be ready, right? I mean, it's not that buyer's market anymore where you, depending on the price range, where you can sit around and take your time and have a bag of Cheetos while you're waiting to decide to put an offer on a house or not, or to even go look at it. Have you, on your end, like you said, you've got more listings coming up. What kind of price range are you seeing?
So I've been listing, so we actually just listed a house in Moscow under 500,000. It's 340 Louder in Moscow. Little plug there for my new listing. Co-listing that with Heather Saltarella.
Plug that a little louder.
Woodbridge. But anyways, that's a pretty. It'll be interesting to see how that does. It's a pretty cool house on the interior. It's got a lot of cool wood, which I think wood's coming back in the style. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But I've been signing listings under 500,000, which I think that's where the buyers are right now. Over six seems like that market is still kind of a buyer's market, not really a seller's market, but anything under 600,000 seems to be shifting more to a seller's market. So that's kind of what I'm seeing.
Yeah, yeah, buyer's market. Like even those ones that are over 600, like not to discourage sellers, I think it's still a fair market. You're still, if you're selling a house in that price range, people still see the value in the prices you're putting them at. There's just less people buying in that range, so they're going to sit longer. My house was on the market for 6 months, and it just went on to contract, and not once did somebody come by and say, "Hey, it's priced too high." It just either they couldn't afford it or whatever. I would have dropped the price if it was priced too high. That wasn't the feedback. So yeah, it's definitely a price range driven. There's a big difference. If a house comes on the market for $399,000 in Pullman, you got to be ready to go, right?
Yeah, and I've been trying to coach my buyers a little bit without sounding pushy, but I think the market's changing again. And if you're kind of the mindset you're looking for a deal under 500,000, I I don't know if you're going to get it anymore. Like you've got to kind of be more of the mindset. You got to jump on stuff. I think just the
There's
way things
there's
are changing.
two types of clients that I'm seeing. My fingers were off the screen. The two types of clients that I'm seeing. One is the one where you first meet with them, or someone on your team first meets with them, and they're like, "Okay, you want to look at these houses? Go get pre-qualified." Like they send them my link or my phone number, and bam, like 5 minutes later, I get a text like, "Hey, so and so starting an application," and they do it. Then there's the other one where, you know, you let them know, we reach out to them, nothing. We reach out to them, yeah, I'll get started on that. We reach out to them, they haven't done it yet. House pops up, oh, we want to go see it. Oh, we're not
Too
like,
late.
yeah, like you have to be that first one that's just ready to go. It's easy. The pre-approval process, it probably, if you're doing it, you can do it from your cell phone. It takes 15 minutes.
I
Uh,
was going to ask why. I mean, it always seems like that is always the hang up. You go show homes with a buyer, and then it's like, oh, they really like it. But then it's a week or 2 weeks or a month before they get pre qualified. Why is there like, and by that time, the house is already sold. Why are buyers just intimidated? Is it, is it just paperwork? They don't like paperwork. What's the hang up there?
yeah, it's two things. People, I think they're nervous to get their credit pulled sometimes. And I don't blame them, but by golly, if you're buying a house, you got to have your credit pulled, right? So the what I hear, it's going to affect. I don't want that additional credit inquiry on my credit report. Well, you got to have it to buy a house. Now, there's a caveat to that though. Like I can pre-qualify someone as long as it's not like an FHA or a VA loan with a soft credit pull, which isn't going to show up anywhere. It's not going to trigger. You're not going to see a credit inquiry from me, nothing. And we can pre-qualify people that way, which people love that because they're protecting the score. And then the cool thing about it is if we go that route, eventually we do have to do the hard credit pull before we close. But if they have things they need to work on, I haven't done a hard inquiry for them, and I can tell them what those things. Maybe some people, maybe they're just afraid to hear what they might already know. But here's what I found more often than not. I have people come to me who think they're the most qualified buyers in the world and they don't qualify. But I have more people come to me who don't think they're qualified who actually are. And and those ones are my favorite. Like I like both of those clients because we can get the other client where they need to go. But many people don't think they can buy a house when they're ready. They are ready.
Yeah, that's what I found too. It's usually more people are more qualified than they realize, or they're pretty close, you
Mhm.
know. And so,
My
uh,
favorite question is like, how much am I qualified for? How much can you qualify me for? Most people, I can qualify them for way more than they're willing to pay. I don't want to say most people, but a lot of people. So my first question, it isn't like I don't say here you're qualified for $600,000 to buy a house. It's hold on, what are you comfortable with? We start with a payment. What kind of payment are you comfortable with? What kind of down payment you have? And let's reverse engineer that so you're not just because just because I say you can buy 600 doesn't mean that's how much you want to spend. So we're always catering to what your budget is, which I think is important too. So um, yeah, I mean no, no, that yeah, but that step is like just do it. It's easy. You get it done. That's usually good for 120, 100, yeah, 120 days, 150 days, something like that. But if that pre-approval, let's say you don't buy a house, it expires. All we have to do is turn around and update your credit report, and it's good to go again. So it's easy.
yeah, I would say you could probably save a lot of money as a buyer if you just get pre-qualified earlier in the process, so that you're not, especially earlier in the year, because I think as the market heats up, things are going to get more expensive and more competitive. So if you can go and get pre-qualified now, you could save, I think, a ton of money by buying now as opposed to in the spring or summer when I think if interest rates drop, pricing is going to go up. I think you could probably save 20 to 50 to 100,000 depending on which property you're buying.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. No, everybody's uncle wants to tell them to wait till rates go down. It's
don't do it. Like buy now.
buy when you're ready. Yeah, I know. Like timing the market is, I think, one of the worst pieces of advice people get from friends and family. You can try to time the market, get lucky, but I mean, good luck. I mean, likely not. I always tell people buy when you're ready. Don't wait.
Always, always be buying.
Always be buying. Yeah. Uh, it what other you got that one in Moscow. So those two listings are in Pullman. The other ones you signed yesterday.
So I've got a condo in Pullman coming on the market. So it'll be just over 200,000. And then I've got a house in Uniontown that will probably be low 300s. Um, and then I've got two manufactured homes in Pullman that I'm working on that will be under 200,000. So I'm really interested in trying to bring on more kind of affordable housing. I got an offer yesterday on my Ackerman Lane in Colfax, which
Oh,
is new
sweet.
construction under 400,000. So trying to work through that.
Colfax has been wildly busy.
Colfax is, yeah, well, because it's a lot more affordable than Pullman, so it's really, I think, for what it, for a town in Whitman County, Colfax is brings the most value. I mean, it has a hospital, it has a grocery store. um I think the school's good. My kids go to Colfax.
Yeah.
um
You went there
and
too, didn't you?
was that,
You went to school there too?
yeah,
No,
I went to Colfax High
I'm
School.
sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy because it seemed like for a while, like Colfax was, yeah, it was that outside of Pullman, the hottest market, and then for like a short minute, it was like Palouse was on fire, and now I'm
Yeah.
seeing they're both doing good, but I'm seeing more activity in Colfax. Obviously, Colfax is a little bigger, but
Well, and I think price has been lower in Colfax compared to like Palouse or Uniontown or Colton. So I've always felt like Colfax is a pretty good value for what you get. There hasn't been a lot of excuse me, newer homes being built in Colfax, so that's a bit of a issue. Is there's just not a lot of nice homes in Colfax. I mean, there are some nice homes, but they don't tend to come up too often.
people keep them. Yeah.
There hasn't been a lot of new construction built over the last 20 years, and so we need more new construction, because I think as price point has gone up, it makes more sense to build in Colfax or the other towns where, I mean, in the past comps were at like under 200,000. So if you're a builder and you're like, how can I comp this out when everything is sold under 200,000? Um, I mean, I think new construction is new construction. I don't think it should matter what town you're in,
Yeah.
but comps are always a concern. So
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it always is. Yeah, I noticed that those Ackerman. He kind of. How many houses have they put up out there? I got to do one of them. That was really cool. A couple months ago. That's use a local lender. I got to come in and save the day on one. That was fun.
yeah. So the builder I've worked with, Tyson Pishel, is the builder in that. He wasn't the original builder in that neighborhood, but he's built. I've sold two with him last year in there, and we've got a third on the market currently. And so, but we just got an offer, so hopefully we can put that together. Um, an issue that we are a little concerned about is appraisal, because when you're looking at cost per square foot on some of this new construction, like that is over 340 a square foot. And so we're kind of working through that, how to put an agreement together and make sure we don't have an appraisal issue.
Yeah, I think I saw that on a. I had a client doing new construction in out here in Spokane Valley, Liberty Lake area, and it was closer to like a 4,000 square foot home. But yeah, you're starting to flirt with the mid 300 per square foot number. It's I don't want to say it's becoming the norm, but it almost seems like it might be. Uh,
Well, like in Pullman, those the smaller new construction, that I was just looking it up. There was one for 339 in Pullman. And then in Palouse, there's some small new construction that is like 320, 330, I think is where that's selling. So, I just think, it's what it is. Like, I don't think we'll have an appraisal issue, but, you never know.
I've had a lot of deals where people thought there's going to be appraisal issues, and they came back just fine, or higher. I did an appraisal for you guys the other day. We ordered it on Tuesday. We got it back Wednesday. It took one day for me to get an appraisal. It was crazy. Speaking of,
Yeah, so like on appraisal, on new construction, when the home is not finished, we were talking earlier, you're saying that generally appraisal will happen early in the process.
yeah. In fact, I actually after I talked to you, I talked to Keith Leifer on my team, who's done probably 600 new construction purchases where they're buying a house from a production builder. I said, what do you do on the FHA ones when you order? He goes, I just order it whenever. And they get the plans and specs. So the appraiser is going to look and they're going to appraise the land. And then they're going to look at the plans and specs for the house being built. And then they're going to base their comps off of that. They can tell what it's going to be worth off those plans and specs. So you can do that even before it's framed. You don't have to wait till the house is done to find out. Which that's important for builders because they need to make sure they're not going to get to the finish line and the thing's not going
Yeah.
to appraise and the buyer can't. It's also important for the buyer because then they're host too. I have seen, just because I've been a part of so many of them, managing a builder account, I have seen where appraisals on new construction have been light, but not by much ever. And that was when a market that was just skyrocketing, right? During the COVID era where prices were going up faster than the values could keep up with them. And so, but once that deal closes, you're the comp now. So you might have paid $5,000 more than it appraised for, but now that's what it is. And the next house that sells is going to be for even more. So you're still getting equity. You're not starting with negative equity. That's the mindset people get. But it's all what you're comfortable with.
That's cool. I was just thinking about a text I sent Linda Darnell, who works for Woodbridge Real Estate. Whoop, whoop. So I text her because we're just like, man, it's gotten kind of busy, and so I texted her. I gotta look up the text, but I think it was we received one offer, we sent a new offer, we sent a counter offer, we signed 2 listings, and there was probably something else, but that was my day yesterday. So that's pretty good. That's like I think a good sign that we're getting kind of busy
Yeah, I'm seeing a, my
on
my
the
yeah,
snowiest day of the year.
yeah. Well, my February, yeah, dude, that's welcome to winter. My year's starting off way busier than I've never ever had, and besides the COVID era where it was just one season, like we were just busy, right?
Yeah,
Typically, our markets are seasonal, and I had so we're back to a normal market where it is seasonal, but it feels springish, as far as real estate goes. I think 2 purchase contracts on Monday, and usually January you're lucky to get one. But month to date, I think I got like 4 or 5 or 6, something like that. So a couple of refinances. It feels like March, April. So that's good.
that is good. Well, cool. Well, anything else you want to talk about? Maybe what company you work for?
Oh yeah, you know what? I work for Cross Country Mortgage, my friend. So my team, we went there. We joined Cross Country Mortgage like back in September, I think. Um, we were stoked. We wanted to, why did we move? We wanted to be able to serve our clients better. We wanted to say yes to more deals. And we got recruited by the old great throwing Samoan Jack Thompson, and we joined the Jack Thompson team. So which works really really great for us because we do so much business in Pullman. We've got that cougsfirst benefit that we give for it's like $22,198 in closing costs. Such a random number, but that's a credit. So
I'm gonna put you on the spot here.
yeah,
Are you a and what's the NIL? Cougs, not Cougs
the
first,
Coug
but
Collective.
Cougar Collective. Are you a member of that?
Personally, no,
Oh,
no,
man.
no. Our group is though our the Jack Thompson team is a big part of that. So you'll see his name all over that website, right there with you, Jacob, right there with you. So
Right on. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I am I'm a Palouse Posse member of the Cougar Collective, so I'm pretty proud of that. Um, so, anyways, I'm also a member of Cougs First, which I think is a great
oh,
organization.
it's awesome. I just had a really awesome real estate agent in Spokane that I work with join Cougs First, the Crimson, whatever the one is. It's a higher up, or it's not the entry level one, but whatever. And we're loving it. We closed the deal together for a Coug up here in Spokane and whatnot. It's a great little networking group. But Jack, my boss, was the one that had the bright idea of creating that. So that's a big part of what we do at Cross Country. Is a we're we're tapping that network, if you will, to help our buyers or help find buyers and get them to our realtor partners that are also a part of it. It's great.
Cool. That's awesome. Well, I think we covered quite a bit of ground here
Yeah, yeah.
for.
Our 5 minutes turned into 25. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
what does Woodbridge Real Estate have on deck? Anything exciting coming up before we wrap up?
I mean, we're just busy. So we've got some awesome agents. We got a couple new agents that came over last year that are crushing it. We've got so we're kind of a small company, but we're growing. So I think we're at 13 agents now. And I've been kind of working more as kind of doing some coaching with our agents. And so, I mean, that's kind of a new thing, like trying to get them on board with doing the activities. You know, they do an awesome job on transaction management and just trying to help them facilitate more business. And so I've been kind of helping with that. We're doing a lot of social media, more marketing. We're just looking to grow. We've got two offices now, one in Colfax, one in Pullman.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that Colfax office. Are you guys ever going to put the Arby's back in there, or what's the deal?
they'd have to kick me out of the kitchen because that's where my office is I'm actually in the kitchen area of the old Arby's. So
Does it still smell like curly fries?
no, no, smells like me, which smells great. So,
Oh,
uh,
that's good.
anyways, yeah. So our Colfax office, the Ag West is on the other side. So we're kind of right on the main drag. We got electronic sign, so we can advertise our listings on the highway, which is pretty awesome. And I control that, so I can add listing info. I can also talk about, football games, basketball
You
games
can
happen.
warn people to slow down because there's a state trooper ahead.
Yeah, I can. I can update the sign in like 5 minutes. So,
Yeah, that's good.
um, but anyways, yeah. So we're Whitman County, Latah County, as we're the markets that we mostly work currently. We have an agent in Lewiston. Um, we're looking to grow kind of and work with agents wherever. We have an awesome designated broker, awesome photographer. We do 3D, the 3D walkthroughs, drone photos, awesome stills.
Don't forget your YouTube walkthroughs.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, those are pretty decent. And I work with a company out of Pullman for that. And they help, so those are fun and they're a great way to show the property in a different way. So yeah, we're just trying to provide service and kind of go above and beyond. And I think all the agents are on board with that. We're not looking to kind of half-ass the marketing on our homes we're selling. We want to provide the best marketing that we can, and also with open houses, which takes time. But I mean, you got to get people in homes. So I'm always pushing open houses. They do help us generate business, but they help sell the property, and so I'm pretty hands on with our company and what we're doing and what the agents are doing because that's just how I roll. Um, so yeah, so I guess I don't know if I answered your question, but our focus, to be honest, is to do as good a freaking job as we can.
Yeah.
And then I think the business will grow organically because of that. Um, because people will tell. I mean, it's already kind of happened. I've seen where people are like, "You got to work with Woodbridge," and so that's pretty cool. You
Those are
know,
the best when you get that phone call and it's like, hey, you helped my Uncle Steve. I'm looking to buy a house. It's like, ah!
yeah. I think when someone has a great experience working with a Woodbridge agent, it just helps the
Yeah.
business kind of grow organically. And so that's been my focus is making sure, and luckily just the agents that I've kind of have come in, they already do that. They're just super, hands on with their clients, not lackadaisical, and they do a great job.
If you're watching this and you worked with Jacob or his team, referrals, that's our livelihood. That's tell your friend, you hear of a friend buying a house, set them up with the same team you work with if you had a great experience. That's how the world turns. That's how our worlds turn, at least. So I had a client yesterday tag me in a Facebook post. It was cool because we closed on their house yesterday, and it was a tough deal. And it was the best compliment in the world. I looked at his post. I finally bought a house. Use this realtor. Use Jared. I highly recommend. And it's got like 200 likes and 40 comments. That's the best marketing for me. I didn't have to pay a dime for that. All I had to do is provide good service. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's always makes you feel good about what you're doing. So, well, cool. We're at 30 minutes, so
You're out of tape.
yeah, I'm gonna have to do 30-minute podcast. But I think we covered some good stuff. Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, yeah, no. Just what's your YouTube channel? How do people follow you?
Just Jacob T. Davis. You go to all my stuff. The only thing that is not Jacob T. Davis for like social media is Instagram, which is Jacob T. Davis Yo.
Yeah. So is Jacob T. Davis taken?
Yeah, Jacob T. Davis was taken, but like Twitter's Jacob T. Davis, YouTube's Jacob T. Davis, my email's Jacob T. Davis. Everything's pretty much Jacob T. Davis. My LinkedIn, I think, is Jacob T. Davis.
My first Jacob T. Davis radio commercial I remember was Jacob T. as in Tyrannosaurus Davis. So
Yeah,
that was before I even knew you. I was like, "Who is this clown?"
Yeah. I think humor helps pique interest, so
Yep.
I've kind of gone that route.
Uh,
I sold, well, I don't know if I told you, but I sold radio advertising for 2 years, so
Yeah.
I became an expert in radio ads.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, cool. Well, keep crushing it, and we'll be in touch.
All right, my friend. Thank you.
Whoop whoop.